then to help us with the rigging, we need to have certain objects which are actually going to control the actual gun itself. But first we're going to select the machine gun object, and then we need to attach these cylinders here, so that of course now they're all part of one big family. Okay, yeah, and then let's see, do we need a, let me see, I'm going to press F9. Yeah, it's smooth enough, so we don't need any mesh smoothing or anything like that. Yeah, we're simply going to select now, go to the element mode, select that very last polygon element there, then we're going to select the moving tool, and then shift and drag backwards. As you can see, make sure you clone to element so that it doesn't clone to a different object, and then we're simply going to scale it up, as you can see, because this object is going to act as a holder, okay, for our gun object. And now I'm adding additional elements just to help us with the rig, okay, of our object that we're going to have at the end. So up next, again we're going to select element mode. Now this time we're going to shift and drag backwards. Now we're going to clone to object, okay. Now this object here, we're going to rename it to gun joint, okay. Now we're going to select our gun joint, go to the hierarchy panel, affect pivot only, and then center to object. And then of course we're going to select the rotation tool, turn on the angle snap toggle, and then we're going to rotate it to 90 degrees, okay. And now we need to move it so that it's sitting just above the gun object, and of course it shouldn't be too big as it is right now, so we're going to scale it down and like that, and move it down. So the main point of this object is going to be the center from which the gun will be rotating, of course. And then we're going to add, again, to help us with the rig, we're going to add an additional controller. Let's go to the create panel. We are going to create a box, make it auto grid, and then we're going to draw it above this object here, the gun joint. And then go to the align tool, and then we're going to align it to the gun joint. And then we need to scale it, squash it down like that, and then make it longer like that. And then we're going to move this guy here to the side, and then shift and drag to make a copy on the other side as well. And then of course we need to make it an editable polygon, so we're going to attach the other box to it, and then go to the polygon mode. We need to select those polygons and bring them up, because of them they will help the gun to sit nicely where the gun will be held, of course. And then we're going to select the gun joint, and then we're going to attach these two boxes to it, so that of course now they are one object, of course. And then we're going to select the affect pivot only. Now, very important, we need to move the pivot point at the right place, and the pivot point needs to be sitting in the center here between these two blocks here, okay. As you can see, I have moved it upwards so that it can be sitting between the two boxes, okay. So that's what we've done. Up next is the decision that we need to make as to what should be the size of the gun so that it can sit nicely inside the structure of our robot. So to do that, we are going to select our gun, in other words the gun joint and the machine gun itself, and then we are first going to group, okay. And then up next we are going to move it into place. But first we need to determine, as you can see, this is the ground floor, so the gun shouldn't be too big that it cannot even sit on the ground. So we start by scaling the gun down, of course, and of course moving it up into the position. Probably it will be sitting somewhere here. But still, even before we proceed with that, we need to take into account the shape of the head. So let's start by selecting the head and the eyes, everything that makes up the head. Let's select them, and we are also going to group them for now. Call it head. Okay, and then we are going to scale it down. We are scaling it according to the size of the legs, okay, so that the legs can perfectly fit inside. And then now let's select the legs. Actually, let's select all those objects, and then we're going to group. Call it legs. Okay, and then we're going to start by trying to move the legs into position, as you can see. At this point, really, our aim is to determine the proportions. You might even want to change the views here. Oh, okay, it has been changed to the right view. We are trying to position, as I said, the leg to see whether it will fit in with the rest of the body. You can see clearly the head is a bit still too big, and so we are going to scale it a bit further down, as you can see. Okay. And now you'll notice the machine gun, the proportions have also been reduced quite a bit. Let's reduce the proportions a bit further. The final position will be so that it can be slightly below the body, okay, of the robot. So at this point you can see, of course, what will happen. Okay, so you can see for yourselves the size of the machine gun, the size of the head, and the size of the legs. And I think still this head is way too big. We are going to scale it down again, because it will really be nice if the biggest parts are the legs of the robot. That's the way it should be. Okay, so the machine guns, no problem, we can always scale them forever, and they should be a bit spread apart, as you can see, the machine guns. So now can you see the dimensions of the legs with regards to the head? Okay. Okay, and now at this point we are going to begin the process of duplicating the objects, the legs, the machine guns, and so forth. Now I know the biggest problem you end up with is positioning the object in the right positions, because I can assure you, you won't know where to put the legs, especially if you need to mirror them. So here's what you're going to do at first. We are going to draw a shape that's going to serve as a guideline for the rest of things to come. So we're going to create, let's go to the shapes. We're going to create a star. And then let's design a simple star for now. Okay, and then just move it a bit to the center of the body. Now in total our decision was made that we should have 6 legs for our robot. So let's see, should the star be adjusted in any further way? Yes. Okay, please go to the modify panel of the star and then reduce the number of points to 4, and then right click, and then we're going to make it an editable spline. Let's go to the vertices. Now we're going to select those outermost vertices. Select the scaling tool. Let's see, can we use, no, we need to add instead an FFD 2x2x2 modifier, like that. Click on the control points. We need to select all the control points on it. Now there we are simply going to scale them inwards, as you can see. Now why are we doing this? We are scaling them on the y-axis so that we know where to position each of the additional legs that we are going to have. That's why we have the shape of the star, because you can see the edges of the star represents the positions where, of course, the legs will need to come in. Okay. Again, as I said, this is really going to help us as a guideline. Now let's go back to the leg. We're going to go to group. Let's see. Now before moving on, we want to make sure that certain of these objects here are already properly mapped with their materials, because they will have a problem, I can assure you. So let's select the legs group and then go to group, open. Okay. Then we're going to select this polygon, this object here. Open up the material editor. We are doing this material mapping now because this object, for instance, it's not a square or a box, so its mapping can be quite cumbersome. So open up the material editor and then let's go to carbon fiber. We're going to change the diffuse slot for now. Open up the bitmap and then we're going to load. Go to your project files folder. We're going to open up, of course, our carbon fiber texture and then make it, of course, visible in the viewport like that. By doing that, you can see, of course, the problem that we're having with this object of ours. So we need to apply a Uvw map to it, so that some mapping can go well. Let's see which kind of mapping can work with it. It seems as if there we go. We need to apply box mapping to it, so that, of course, it maps properly. Let's just confirm. Okay, it's saying that the object doesn't have a map. Let's just click continue. You can see, of course, what has been done to that object. Okay. Now select this tube here. It also needs a Uvw map. I think it's cylindrical. Now this one we can increase the number of tiles. Maybe U tile to 3, V tiles to 3. Yeah, that should do. Just to duplicate more of them, maybe 5. Yeah, like that. I'm going to copy this texturing here. Select this tube here, and we're going to paste a copy of it. Let's see. Let's see which one. Yeah, this one actually, the planar mapping works for it well. Copy the texturing. Let's come to this one here. Sorry. Yeah, this one. Paste a copy of that texturing. Yeah, much better. Okay. So now it means, of course, we can come back to this one and collapse it. Okay, because the mapping has gone well. Select this guy, collapse it, and hit collapse also. And then we're going to select the main one again, and then we're going to attach this one and this object to it, so that, of course, at this point they become one object. Okay. And then let's move on. Let's see this one here. Does it need to be tiled? Not too much. Maybe just 2.5. Okay, let's see. V-tiling, maybe 1.5. Yeah, okay. And of course also collapse it. This one here. Now that one actually does not need any mapping whatsoever. Instead, we're going to select the leg and attach this object, okay, and this tube, of course, okay, and of course that one. Perfect. Okay, so that now, of course, all those make up one object, which is the leg, like that. Okay. And also this object of ours, the head itself. Let's go to group, open. Select this object, and then we need to add a Uvw map to it. Uvw map, okay. You can see its texturing needs to be fixed. Let's see which one might work for it. Let's see. Yeah, it seems box texturing is working for it. Then, of course, we need to increase the number of tiling. Okay, that is 9. Okay, let's see this one here. Yeah, 3.5 is enough. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that should do. Let's collapse it. And then go to group, close, so that it becomes again the head. Same as here also. Let's go to group, select the leg and then go to group, close, so that of course they become again enclosed into what they should be. And then select the machine gun, open up the material editor. Let's give it this texture, call it machine gun. Okay, just going to be one of those darkened ones so that we know it's a gun. Okay, so that's the process that we had to do before trying to multiply the shapes or duplicate them. Okay, now let's go ahead and duplicate the structures. Firstly, let's make sure that we are happy with the way things are looking. I think at this point, let's select the legs group and then go to group, open. Select this tube here. Let's go to the vertices mode. We just want to bring these vertices here, of course, inwards into the structure. Not too much, just a bit. Okay. We are simply trying to make final adjustments before we move on. So we can go to group and close the group again. Are we really happy with the size of the head in relation to the rest of the body? Yeah, it's looking cool.